Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. Today we are checking out a super sweet blue-red Fliers list, which was played to a 19th place finish by Tomohiro Saito at the recent GP Minneapolis. So congrats to Saito on his finish with the deck. So this one, there's no voting. We've actually already played this one on the MTG Goldfish stream. So if you want to see this deck in action, there will be a link down in the description. Head over to MTG Goldfish Replay. You can watch the entire stream and see the deck in action. So no voting because it's already been done. But don't worry, we will be back to our normal voting tomorrow with the next Instant Deck Tech. Let's talk about Blue-Red Fliers in Standard. This deck is built around a whole bunch of evasive creatures, some of them with flash, with the idea being that Standard is full of ground dudes bashing into each other. If you look at Bant Company, look at Mono White Humans, look at various rights decks, other company decks, most of the battles in Standard are taking place on the ground. This deck is looking to fly over all the melee that's happening on the ground and win in the air with some really efficient threats. So Dimensional Infiltrator and Rattle Chain's almost exactly the same card in this deck. 2/1 Flyers for 2 mana with flash. Dimensional Infiltrator can sometimes save itself with the help of colorless mana from Shivan Reef. Rattle Chains, you can use a second copy to protect the first one by giving it hexproof. Stratus Dancer is a counter spell on a body. You pay it face down. You can flip it up for 2 mana and counter an instant or sorcery. And then Gold White Castigator is super powerful, super big, and hasty. The problem is, it basically gives your opponent a Furnace of Wrath, so it's very high risk. So you want to make sure that you are actually closing out the game when you play this, or at least not too far behind on board, because it's very easy for your opponent to swing back and kill you if you don't kill them with Golden Knight Castigator. So since we have a lot of creatures with flying, we get to back this up with counter spells. So you leave up your mana, you have the possibility of playing the Rattle Chains, the Dimensional Infiltrator, if you don't need to cast your Clash of Wills or your Spell Shrivel. So you can leave up the defense, and then if your opponent decides to play around your counterspell, you're still doing something, so you're not time-walking yourself to leave up a counterspell. And then there's a bit of removal for Fiery Impulse, just efficient early game way to take care of a creature. And Exquisite Firecraft doubles up as a way to finish off your opponent. So if you can get them down to 4 life with your Flyers, 1 Exquisite Firecraft, or at 8 life, 2 Exquisite Firecrafts can actually close out the game. And if you have Spell Mastery, thanks to your counters and your Fiery Impulse, it's uncounterable as well. The last main deck card is one of the most spicy ones. Fevered Visions is super powerful. It can beat control decks all by itself because it just repeatedly does 2 damage to the opponent every turn as long as they have 4 cards in their hand, 4 or more cards in their hand. And plus, you can use it to ping down Planeswalkers in a pinch because you can redirect the damage. Plus, for you, and make sure your hand stays full, you always have your counters, you have more threats, more burn spells. So it makes sure that you always have action, and it's a way to close out the game against opponents who are playing slow, grindy decks and can't really take advantage of it. In the mana base, we got 8 dual lands, 4 fumerals, 4 Shivan Reefs, and then a whole bunch of basics, 7 islands, 9 mountains. Moving to the sideboard, pretty basic. We have 2 4-ofs, Negate and Goblin Dark Dwellers. These are mostly for control matchups. Negate, help protect you from Planeswalkers, Disruption, counter spells, Wrath, any of that stuff. And Goblin Dark Dwellers is just a really resilient threat. You can flashback a removal spell, an Exquisite Firecraft, plus it has Menace in a reasonable sized body for its cost. And then if you're running into an aggro deck, you got 4 Roast for more removal, can kill bigger ground creatures, and Seismic Rupture might be the sweetest one in the entire deck. It is basically like Whip Flare in Modern Affinity, so it's 2 damage to each creature without flying, so you can wipe away all your opponent's humans or their Bant Company targets while not hitting your Flyers because it doesn't deal any damage to them. Anyway, that is Blue-Red Flyers in Standard. I hope you enjoyed our Instant Deck Tech. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.